Hello, my name's Nadine and welcome to the Slow Crafting Podcast. This is episode 14 of a bi-weekly podcast looking at incorporating the slow living and slow fashion agenda into my crafting endeavours. So knitting, spinning, sewing, crochet, a whole range of fibre goodness. You can find me on Ravelry as Crafting Nadine, or you can find me through my blog, which is themeninKnitsofNadine.wordpress.com. Okay, there's a couple of things I want to talk to you about today. Some of them good, some of them bad, some of them indifferent. Right. First things first, a bit of shameless self-promotion actually. I spoke last episode about a couple of designs I had in the works. This is two of them. There's a hat and a cowl here. They've not yet been released, which is why I'm not showing you them in full detail, but they are available for test knit at the moment on Ravelry. If you were interested in test knitting, you can find them listed as the Coeden, that's Coeden, hat and cowl set over on the free pattern testers forum on Ravelry. Testing is open till the end of September, and I'm only looking for about 2 or 3 people to test each of the items. They're fairly straightforward. I think sort of intermediate skill level for testers. Well, the cowl is easy. The intermediate is because of the short row shaping on the hat. So if you're interested, head on over to the free pattern testers group forum on Ravelry, and I will put a link down below for that. Okay. The shawl and the mittens that I mentioned last episode as well, I'm still writing up the pattern for those, so that'll be probably next month, I think, that they're out for pattern testing. Right. That was the indifferent section. The bad things that have happened in the last, ever since I cast this sweater on actually. Part of my sort of slow living approach, slow fashion approach, specifically for me, this is not necessarily that I think that this is what everybody should do, but one of the things that I wanted to do was to be more involved in the whole process of making garments for my wardrobe. So whether that was from spinning the wool to then knit something to then be able to wear it, or if I was sewing something, do a lot more, instead of just getting the fabric, sewing it up to a set pattern and then wearing it, doing a lot more embellishments, sort of embroidery or other surface decoration on the fabric. One of the other things I wanted to do was design more. I use design in the loosest possible terms. I am not a professional yet. Maybe one day when I get better. I was going to think of something slightly more diplomatic and less self-deprecatory, but from this you will see that it's not always an easy process or straightforward. But yes, so I decided that I wanted to knit myself a jumper that was stylish but practical for a lot of the sort of gardening or allotmenting outdoor work that I do. Now, I picked my yarn. I used, what did I use? Where's ball bands? This is one of them. This is from my local yarn shop. Unfortunately, they have a dreadful habit of having lots of yarn in that's not repeatable. I don't know why, whether it's because they do make some machine knitted garments, and I don't know whether this is yarn that they've used in the machine garments and then discontinued for whatever reason, or whether they've just done test spins of certain batches and then decided not to stock them, or whether it's old stock, or I don't know why. I should probably ask them, but because they do a similar yarn to this in the repeatable fibre groups, or wool type yarn types, but because they do a repeatable one that's the same weight and with a mild yarn, it just doesn't have the tweedy flex in that this does. I don't know if you can see any from there. Oh, there's one there. No, you can't. You're not getting them on here. But there's reds and blues and greens and yellows flecked throughout this. But these are the ones that tend to appear in the discounted chuck out bins as well. So this is why these are the ones that often come home with me. But they are 100% British wool as well. So that's why they're of particular interest, not just because they were cheap. So this is one of the yarns. The other one is also from my local yarn shop, and it's the superwash merino that they do. And I wanted this I preferred it not to have been superwash merino, but this is their DK weight that's in a solid colour. They do another DK weight that's mostly in a solid colour but then has tweedy flecks throughout it. But I got this one because it was a pure solid. So yeah, it's the DK Classics. And yes, so I decided to knit this sweater, and I went through all my sizing information, had some interesting times measuring myself and going, oh, okay. But yes, I think most of my body was fine. It was when I measured my hips that I went, oh, that pushes me into a category I wasn't particularly keen on going into. But if I want a jumper to fit properly, I shall just have to accept it and move on. Now, I cast on for the bottom of the sweater. Well, first of all, I did a swatch. I was very good. I did it in the round, but when basically you just knit flat and then bring your yarn around the back and start at the far end again and knit across. Lesson to myself in future: if I'm going to knit in the round, swatch in the round properly, because for me that technique of just bringing your yarn around the back and starting at the beginning again does not work, because I discovered after I had cast on and knitted 14 inches of colour work for the body that my gauge on my garment did not match the gauge on my swatch. It was off by over a stitch, I think. Oh no, just under a stitch, because I think my swatch on, well, the gauge on my swatch was 6.5 stitches per inch, and the gauge on my finished, on my garment, was 7.25 stitches per inch, which doesn't sound like a massive amount of difference, but when you're doing it over a 40 plus inches for my hips, it adds up. And yes, I think the body of the sweater might have fitted my daughter rather than me, and she's 4. So yes, ripped out 14 inches of the said body of the sweater, and it didn't stop there, the drama with it. Knitted, cast on for the sleeve. This is the good one, but this has been knitted 3 times. So yes, I'd got part way through the body, and I decided to cast on for the arm, just because I fancied a change from going round and round on a big circumference. So I knitted it probably up to about here, and then thought, oh, that's a bit tight, ripped it out, knitted it again after I'd increased the stitch number, went, no, that's still tight. But again, I hadn't cross-referenced it to the problems with the gauge on the garment at that point. Because the first time I'd knitted it and it was too tight, I thought, oh, I'll add some positive ease to the sleeves, because they were just going to be no ease, and fit the body has some positive ease in it. But I thought, oh, obviously, because my arms are quite chunky in comparison to the rest of me, I added an extra inch of positive ease, but that still didn't fit, because I'd forgotten to go up a needle size after I'd done the cuff. So I was like, oh, that might explain it. So yeah, so I ripped that out, so that was the second time. And then I thought, right, check the gauge on everything, found out the body was too small, so that meant ripping out the 14 inches on there, and recast on the sleeve with the correct number of stitches according to gauge, and adding an extra inch of positive ease to it. And so far we have a sleeve. I have not yet summoned up the... Oh, no, I forgot something else as well. I was going to say I'd not yet summoned up the courage to cast on for the body again, but I did. I'd cast it on and then was knitting it, and then what did I do? Yes, this is it. I'll add a picture in at the beginning of this. I'd decided, I'll have a turned up hem on the bottom to sit on the back of the corrugated ribbon. So I'd done that, and I'd finished off. I'd done the bit for my turn up, and I'd done the bit for my corrugated ribbon. And then I was looking at it, and I thought, wow, what's wrong with this? Laid it flat and realised I'd twisted it when I joined to knit in the round. So I had a Mobius sweater unintentionally, and that was not going to work. Part of me did wonder if I could just fudge it and cut a steek in it and sew it up, but no. So that got ripped out again, and I still haven't summoned the energy to cast on a third time for the body. But at the moment, this sweater is not looking like it's going to work out too well. If I can get everything to go right, it will be brilliant. But in the meantime, it's causing me a lot of frustration. But this is just to show that even for people that knit all the time, which I do, my partner says that I am obsessed with it, and my children, whenever asked what mummy does, she knits all the time. Apparently I don't do anything else, I just knit. But yes, so even for me, who knits all the time, I can still make some quite basic errors every now and again, which lead to several hours of wasted time. But we live and learn, and I need to make sure next time when I cast on, I double check that I've not twisted it. Okay, now the good thing. I've said in earlier episodes, when I'm making stuff for me, a bit flat, when I'm making stuff for me, I would prefer to use natural fibres and British wool where I can. But for the children, I'm quite happy to use acrylic. For now, as they get older, I will want to incorporate more wool into their wardrobe, but they're grubby little urchins and roll around in mud and don't necessarily take, well, not that they don't take care, but they're 4 and 2. They're not going to carefully look after their clothes in the same way that an adult would, and then I need to be able to just throw them in the wash and have them clean again. without shrinking and being relatively stain free. So when I first started knitting, I just bought acrylic because I didn't have much money, and obviously it's a lot cheaper, and generally you get a lot more yardage per weight as in comparison to a wool fibre. I mean, environmentally it's not ideal, but I have quite a bit still in my stash that I've not used up, so I'm happy to use up that for children's knits and makes, rather than just throw it away and have it wasted. So with that in mind, the next couple of bits I'm going to show you are acrylic, but obviously with the caveat that I've just gone through. This is a hat that I made for my oldest daughter last year. It's a bonnet really. There we go, don't know. Try it on, it's a bit small. So it's like this. When she first started nursery, she had it wasn't a bobble hat because it didn't have a bobble on, but a beanie, but quite a loose fitting beanie. It wasn't quite a slouch hat, but yeah, she had one of those, but it kept coming down over her eyes basically. If she had it low enough to cover her ears, it'd come too far down over her eyes, and she complained about it all the time. So I decided that I'd use some leftovers to make her a hat that would keep her ears warm but without getting in the way of her eyes. And I love bonnets on babies, and I thought at the time, oh, she's 3, I can probably still get away with getting her to wear one. Luckily now she really likes the Laura Ingalls Wilder books, so she's quite happy to wear bonnets and things. She can pretend she's Mary or Laura. In fact, most of the time she pretends she's Mary because she's better behaved. I'm like, but Laura's the more exciting and interesting one. But no, she wants to be Mary, to be better behaved. Yeah, so anyway, made this hat. It's crocheted, you'll probably tell, and I just made it up as I went along. I think she'd complained one too many times about the bobble hat, so when we got back from nursery one dinner time, I just sat down and knocked one up for her, and she loves it. She has come out of nursery with it on back to front a few times. This is at the back, and then this bit here, it should fit at the back of your head basically, and then the frill goes around the front. She's come out of nursery a few times. When she's not put it on, because she puts it on right, this is when one of her teachers or teaching assistants put it on. I'm like this. No, it just caused me no end of amusement. But yes, so like I say, I made this for her last year, and she's worn it to death and loved it, and it's kept her warm and covered her ears up so when it's windy, and she's been very happy with it. And one of the other reasons I decided to make it was with this yarn is because I wanted something that she knew was definitely hers and other people wouldn't be tempted to pinch when she was at nursery. Not that I'm saying everybody's a thief at nursery, but small children, if they've got hats that look the same, they're not going to be paying attention as to exactly whose name it's got inside it, and we'll just, oh, this looks like my hat, I'll put it on and go home. Whereas this one, I thought, there's no mistaking, this is very definitely her hat, and because I do like things to be quite gaudy, so yes. And the yarn in this, that it's a Stylecraft, it's a DK one, I can't remember what it is, but I used it to make some baby items for my niece. She had a blanket with these colours in. It was primarily the cream, but with accents of the other colours in. And I made a little rabbit toy from the Arne and Carlos Easter book, with the green, well, most of the colours actually. It had, the main body was this orange colour, the green I used on for the feet, to the shoes, and on the inside of the ears, and then it had some pants, little knickers in the cream that I'd I knit some lace into the back to show little frilly knickers on. I might put a picture of that in at the end actually. I can't figure out how to insert photographs mid-video. At some point in the future I might, but at the moment I can't. So you either get pictures at the beginning or at the end, not in the middle. So if you've not seen it at the beginning, it will be at the end. Yes, so that's what I made for her, and I made her a set of washcloths as well, not out of the acrylic but out of some cotton in very similar colours, just so she had a matching set of things. But yeah, she loves the, not she doesn't personally, but my sister-in-law does. She loves the washcloths, partly because the small children can't eat them like they would a sponge, or like her children do attempt to do with the sponges. But right, I'm going off on a mad tangent now. Anyway, because she loved the bonnet but it no longer fits, I decided I'd make her another one, and this is the work in progress at the minute. So there's the back, and there's all the lots of ends to weave in, and then that's the side of it so far. I've still got to add some depth to it, and then the frill around the front. But again, this is made up with scraps of various DK weight acrylics. But yeah, she really likes this colourway. It does make me want chocolate though, because it's a chocolatey brown, sort of a pink, a maroon and a cream, and it just makes me want chocolate. I don't know why, but it does. But yes, and she's decided she wants brown, not strings, but essentially strings to fasten it under her chin. So yes, that's what I've been on with at the moment. I might write the pattern up for this, or at least a basic recipe. This is probably going to fit a 4 to 6 year old, because my daughter's got quite a big head. Well, my oldest daughter has. My other daughter's got a very petite little head and face, and can still fit a head into a 3 to 6 month sized hat, despite the fact that she's nearly 3. And my eldest daughter, yes, has always had quite a large head. We tell her it's to incorporate a massive brain, but yeah, so this, like I say, I've made it for her as a 4-year-old, but it will probably fit up to a 6-year-old. Yeah, I've gone really, really ditzy today. But yeah, just to recap, we've had, if you want to do a test knit for the hat and cowl set, then head over to the free pattern testers group on Ravelry. The link should be below. And what else? Yeah, I've shown you my knitting disaster for this week, and my crochet project for my daughter. Over the coming weeks, I'm going to have a real think about Christmas crafting. Now, normally, well, over the years I've done lots of homemade gifts and presents, but I'm coming to the realisation that much as I love my friends and family, not everybody is knit worthy. Not that that makes them a bad person, it just means that they don't necessarily appreciate the time and love that went into knitting something, and nor are they committed enough to washing wool properly to have the garments last long, but at the same time, if you make them something from acrylic, they will look at it like it's a bit cheap. So you're in a bit of a difficult situation. So most of the time I've sort of stepped back and gone, right, I'm not going to make handmade things for everybody, even though I'd quite like to give them something that was handmade and ideally sustainable and something useful that they would appreciate, rather than just getting them a present for the sake of a present. So now I'm resigned to the fact that I will try and find a book instead, because I prefer giving them that rather than just the latest gadget or something made from plastic. But yes, for the girls, I've got a couple of Christmas plans for projects for them to add. Well, they need some bits for the wardrobe, so trying to increase their handmade wardrobe as well as my own. In terms of Christmas crafting, I probably will have a few pairs of socks to knit as well. There's my sister-in-law that lives up in Orkney very much appreciates the hand knit socks that I've been making for her for the past couple of years, and yeah, I'll probably make something for my mum as well, although I don't know why I do, because she never wears them. She wears the socks, but she never wears the other bits that I make her. I think she saves them for best. I'm like, no, just wear it, put it on. But yeah, so I might make her some socks or something, and I might have a go at another Arne and Carlos pattern for felted slippers, which is from their knitted and felted slippers book, which I don't have a copy of because I got it out of the library, but they do have the pattern available on their website, so I'll try and put the link down below for that, as well as the details of the book that the knitted rabbit was from by Arne and Carlos. Okay, I think that's enough waffle from me this time. If you've got any questions, please feel free to ask, either in the comments below, or like I say, you can find me Crafting Nadine on Ravelry. You can PM me on there, or you can speak to me through the blog, which most people seem to do rather than through the comments on here. So take care for now, and hopefully I'll see you again soon. Alright then, bye bye.